Hey, it's Jose Calhoun with Coveted Consultant. Today I want to offer you 3 unique B2B content ideas to help you cut through the clutter and sell deals faster. Let me give you the overview of what I'm going to walk you through today. The point here is to challenge the way your client makes decisions. So yes, we're talking about being more confrontational with the content you create and more confrontational about the status quo that your client will accept. Why is this so important? Because if left to your own devices, your client will do this. They are big, they are bad, and they've got the budget. And they'll do whatever makes sense to them. Your client has existing momentum in the way that things have always been. And if they're allowed to solve this new problem the way they've always solved it, they will end up with just another color of the same status quo. You cannot allow them to do this. Your job is to stop them. Your job is to stop them from doing what they normally do, stop them from doing what they typically do, and get a brand new result. That's why they're asking for help. So they need your particular expertise, but you need a way of reflecting, of showing, of establishing, of articulating your expertise so that both sides can hear each other well, so that both sides can have the best project possible. So let's look at content format number 1. There should be a piece of content on your website that articulates why accepting proposals is a bad idea. Let's explain how we know that's true. In our gut, we know it's true, but let's see it as a process so we can better articulate where it breaks down. So in your client's world, right? They're kind of trekking along and they're experiencing some symptoms that are uncomfortable. Sooner or later, they realize that there is a problem. It's something that they have to resolve. But then they have to spend a series of additional meetings trying to discover what they think the problem is and gathering some request for proposal. Sooner or later, at some point, they finally put out the request for proposal. And when they do that, in this next chain of events, they get all kinds of unfamiliar people sending in information. Then what they have to do is vet all that data. Right, all those people and all their thought processes and all those different options, they have to vet all of them. Then they have to have additional conversations trying to figure out who they like the best, which more than likely requires additional meetings to discuss which proposals make the most sense, which ones they should choose, which ones need to be interviewed, who should get a chance to pitch, and all those kinds of things, just so you can have additional back and forth and finally make a decision about yes or no and what they might do or might not do. How long is this process? Is it 5 weeks? Is it 5 months? Is it 5 years? How long does it take to actually get to the end of this process? Is it actually in your client's best interest to go through all of those steps like that? Listen, they need a better way of moving through, finding the actual problem, getting the right proposals inbound, discerning which proposals make the most sense, having the appropriate follow-up, and making that decision. They need help moving through this process. And why can't your company be the company that helps them navigate this better? It's just simply more effective. It leads to a clearer, sharper decision, which is more profitable for all involved, right? Like, this is what you should be doing. But you need to show your prospective client that you understand this process. And the easiest way to do that is with content pieces. So why don't you just draft out what this looks like for your particular company in your particular niche and show them that you understand. Show them where you can help them be more efficient at all of these essential steps. And why wouldn't they accept that help once they trust that someone understands it? So document that, document your understanding in content, and that becomes your core content piece number 1. Content piece number 2, the danger of letting procurement select your next X. So let's play this out. So let's say that your clientele is typically used to getting RFPs. Like that's what they used to do. They've got a whole process for it. That's where they're comfortable. So what normally happens after that? So they get all these RFPs, right? All these people, give their 2 cents. So they have to vet them, right? They vet them. They find a top 3, and then that top 3 gets turned into finance or procurement. Different companies call it different things. So now the number people, the finance people, now get to decide which vendor they end up working with. But what ends up happening here? right? Finance procurement is making a cost-based decision. They're going to figure out who costs the least amount of money, and they're going to make that choice, right? That's what makes sense. That's what they're held accountable to. What's the breakdown here? Procurement is only prepared to compare the cost. That's what they're experts in. That's why their function exists. So they'll only choose, or they're most likely to choose, the one that costs the least. Procurement is not responsible for the outcome of the project. That's not their goal. That's not the design of their department. So they don't know what the end result needs to look like. They don't necessarily understand what all the moving parts are to get to the appropriate end goal. So they're going to end up making a decision here that is lacking important information. They need the context of what the appropriate outcome looks like. They may or may not have that. Third is that procurement doesn't understand the actual scope of work. What's required? So when you look at these top three options, they're suggesting to do or not do things. Does procurement have the ability to discern which scope of work is best? Does procurement know that if we don't do certain things, that other mistakes may show up and cost us additional money later on? Procurement doesn't know how to do that. That's just not their expertise. It's not what they understand. So again, procurement is at the risk of making a decision without having all the appropriate information. Their choice could break the project. Your job is to reflect your company's understanding and empathy of this process. This is a way that companies make decisions, but you need to understand where it might break down so that your company can affect this process accordingly. What I'm talking about here is that you need to be able to advise how this process unfolds. You need to make sure that all of the appropriate decision makers have the right information so they can make the best and most profitable decision. But your client's not going to let you influence this process, to affect this process, unless they're clear that you understand it. So content becomes your conduit, your vehicle of reflecting how you understand your client's decision-making process. You cannot let your client delegate this important decision to procurement. We're not trying to make enemies in the finance department. What we're saying here is that cost can't be the only metric we use to make the best decision. Content piece number 3, how to select the best X for your business. So on your website, there should be a piece of content that helps your client choose the best option for their business. Because what do we know? We know that in reality, you live in a world of competitors. Your client has choices. They have to choose between different options so they can make the best singular decision, right? So help your client understand why they would choose your company over another company, why they would choose to work with you instead of another choice that's available to them. Now, here's a short warning to you. You can't brag your way through this conversation. This is normally where companies start talking about, well, we've been in business for so long. We've got team members that do all these different things, and we're prepared to do A, B, C, D, E, F, and G on your behalf. Just trust us, and we can help you. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about, you got to help your client understand the value of a verified problem. So given the options available to your client, which of those choices does the best job of verifying their problem? Because they may have a yellow problem, a red problem, or a blue problem. Which of these choices helps them best verify which color of problem they actually have? You need to help your client verify which goal is most valuable to them, because there are red goals, blue goals, yellow goals. So which of those goals are the goals that matter most to your particular client? And which of these options helps verify that goal for your specific client? You need to help your client value a clear path. Sure, there's many different services they could buy, things they could do, but which one of these options provides the clearest roadmap to the goal that they actually want? Your client can make any choice they want, but the choice that they choose should be the clearest path to the end result that they prefer. And for your particular client, which one of these choices do they trust most in order to get to the goal that they want? One of these choices feels best for your client. One of these choices is the most appropriate and most comfortable for your client to get to where they want to go. Which of those options reflects the best chance of success for your particular client? Again, most companies try to brag their way through this conversation. And as you notice, bragging is not part of the criteria that your client is considering. What's important here is that you offer up a specific third-party objective point of view. Your client's problem belongs to your client, and your client needs to make the best decision possible. So help them see their options, help them see their choices. And if they have a red issue, they should choose the red option. If they have a yellow issue, they should choose the yellow option. If they have a blue issue, they should choose the blue option. Put that in front of your client in content right up front. If you happen to offer the red option and your client admits that they have a red problem, well, now they've decided for themselves that you are the choice they should be going with. But if your client has a blue problem and you offer the red option, you should encourage them to go select the blue solution. That's what makes the most sense for your particular client. What's really important here is that you reflect an understanding of how your client makes decisions and which decision is the healthiest, most appropriate for your particular client. Being seen as the advisor, being seen as the expert will put you in their good graces for future projects to come that you may not see yet, that they may not see yet. You cannot let your client make these complex choices on their own, because if they knew how to solve for their problem, they'd be solving for it already. The reason why they're asking for help is that they don't quite know what to do. So your job is to be the hero that they're looking for, be the expert that they're looking for. But you got to walk, talk, act, and communicate like a real expert. And the easiest way to do that is with authoritative content pieces.